Hi, everyone. So once again, thank you so much for being here and for being on time. So my name is Jeanette Melissa Romero. I am the career consultant for the Business Analytics program. I'm really excited for this panel. Of course, being the Business Analytics Career Advisor, this panel is probably my favorite one to do. We have some really excellent panelists here. 3 out of the 4 have shown up. Hopefully Ellen Walsh is going to join us. I think she's just running a little bit late. So if this is your first time though attending one of these online panels, so what's going to happen is I'm going to spend about the first 30 minutes asking some scripted questions for our panelists for you to get to know them a little bit better and what it is that they do. And then I'm going to turn it over to you guys and you're going to have the chance to ask questions yourself. So, you know, as the panelists are talking and sharing about their experiences, think about questions that you would like to ask. And I strongly encourage you to do so. This is your chance to ask these guys. They were once in your shoes. They've all been students. They all survived the MSBA program, graduated, and went on to get good jobs. So this is your chance to connect with them and for them to share their wisdom with you. And then also, I know that Feline has already said it. Thank you for those who turned on their cameras, but can the rest of you turn them on? Eno, I know you're in here. Michael, Zhao, I see you're in here too. Yi, I know a lot of these names. Emma, come on, turn on your cameras, guys. Let's see each other and let's have a conversation. Hi, Eno, there you go. Thanks. Hi, Ariella, you too. Come on, turn on your cameras. Erin, I'm gonna call you all out. June, Erin, Yi, come on, Yi, you've been practicing with me. Come on, get your camera on. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Erin. Thank you for turning on your camera. And Jingyu and Yao, thank you to you guys for already having your cameras on. So gold stars for you. All right, so let's get started without further ado. Let's have the panelists introduce themselves. And Cam, I'll have you go first.
Oh, wow. Hi, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here. I've done a few of these since graduating in 2017 as part of the first cohort that went through the program that you were going through. And I have a lot of words to share about that, but I won't bore you about what it was like for us. But I've been keeping in touch with the program over the years, and that program changed my life. There's no other way to say it. It was the best decision I've ever made. It was challenging, as I'm sure you all know, but it absolutely put my life on a direction that I knew about, but I had no idea about. And since graduating, I started a fractional data analytics agency with another fellow student who was also in the program with me. He ended up taking a full-time position with a cybersecurity organization, and I took a full-time position with Viasat, which is a satellite communication company up in Carlsbad. Some of you may know them. And I was part of a very small customer strategy group and worked with a whole bunch of different types of data, ranging from internet subscription data to satellite capacity and usage data and everything in between. Since my position ended last March due to COVID, I've been a consultant. I've worked with a number of different types of data-driven projects. The last one that I did was with a shipping company that's based out of Colorado, and we did an RFM analysis. Not sure if you've gotten to that point yet in your program, but you will. But it was a major RFM analysis on about 700,000 rows of data and 4 different business units, as well as a real-time map of shipping lane using real-time airline data and real-time shipping, as well as trucks on the ground and railroads. So that was really fun to do that as well. So I love analysis. I love data in that order. And I'm really kind of missing everybody at Rady. It was such a wonderful program, and I'm really glad to be here.
Oh, we're glad to have you back, Cam. Sakshi, how about for you? Introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I am Sakshi, and I'm so happy to be back after 3 years. This is the first panel that I'm attending. Right now, I am working as a senior data analyst at GoDaddy in their website analytics team. My work entails basically doing all the customer analysis for the people who come to the GoDaddy site, make sure that their journey right from the time they land on the homepage to the checkout is seamless, and come up with opportunities to improve this entire funnel through A/B tests and experiments. Prior to GoDaddy, when I was still a student at Rady, I did an internship at Lyft with their product team. And even before joining Rady, I was working as a data scientist at Mu Sigma in India for approximately 1.5 years. Yeah, that's a bit about me. And I am so happy to share all the wisdom I gathered in these last 3 or 4 years with you guys.
Thank you. And Emma, how about you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm very glad to come back. So I remember when I was at Rady, I attended several of these panelists, panel MSBA panels, and I was learned a lot from it. And I'm very glad to come back and as a panelist. So for me, I came up from a non-traditional background. So previously, I got my PhD in chemistry, and then I decided to make a career switch. So I attended a Rady MSBA program. It helped me to make the transition more smoothly. During my time at Rady, I started as a part-time internship, a part-time data scientist position at a startup company. And then after I graduate, I joined another small company called AWM Smart Shelf, where we use video to check people's images in the store and make the frictionless shopping. So it's kind of like the Amazon Go without any people in store helping you. So and then my third job is at Intuit. So right now, I'm a senior data scientist at Intuit. I work in Mint AI. So I'm not sure if you are familiar with Mint. We have several products like TurboTax. Most people are very familiar with that. And I mainly work for Mint. It's a personal financial software that help you manage your money more efficiently. Yeah, that's all about me. I'm very glad to be here.
All right, thanks, guys. Ellen hopefully is going to join us soon. She's having some tech issues. So then we'll move on into my first question, which is going to be, I want to know about skills. So especially like hard and soft skills that you guys use. What contributes the most to your success in your roles or to come into the positions that you've had in the past? And Sakshi, I'd like you to start us off.
Definitely. When I joined GoDaddy, I had just had 1.5 years of prior industrial experience. So I started at a junior position and slowly grew on to the senior level. What turned out to be really, really important in the beginning are the technical skills. So I believe in my space, which is the tech domain, in order to be successful, you need to have skills in SQL. That's a must-have for every other company for entry-level jobs. Other than that, you should be familiar with any of the languages, R or Python. And when it comes to concepts, make sure that you have a good understanding of A/B testing or experimentation and root cause analysis, how to go about solving an open-ended problem. When it comes to soft skills, I believe the very, very important thing is having good communication and good storytelling skill. You must be able to communicate whatever is running through your mind very efficiently in a very, very strategic and planned manner. So that the person in front of you who's interviewing you does not lose interest and follows everything that you are saying. It shouldn't be a conversation where you're talking about the same thing again and again, going about in loops. It should be very clear and nice. And the last thing, again, about soft skills is basically be very polite to anybody you are speaking to, ask them how their day was, ask them about their company. That shows a lot that you are interested in joining the company, or not just interested in the position. You are wanting to join the company because of their culture, and that's the way you can learn about the culture of the company.
Yeah, that's really good advice. You've got to build the relationship, right? It's not just about this is going to be a role and you're going to work in a vacuum and not see or talk to anybody else, but you've also got to build, relationships. So that's really good. Let's see. What about Emma? How about you?
Yeah, so I totally agree with like the building relationship and the communication. As you move from a junior data scientist to senior data scientist, you are like collaborating with more people, right? So you are talking with analysts, with a data engineer, with a PM, with like a lot of people. So sometimes you feel like you are not just acting like a data scientist, you are also like a PM. You need to help manage different relationships and get your work done. So this is my my thoughts on the soft skills. And then for the technical skills, for the data science position, I would say that programming skills is a must-have. So no matter which company you go to, what language they use, you are being tested either on like the Python, most of the time the Python, or sometimes SQL as well. And then another thing I would say is to have a very good understanding of the machine learning algorithms, especially those you have used, you have listed on your resume. So you may have listed several projects. So you not only understand what does each of those algorithms works, but also why each detail you will be asked in the interview about that. Another thing I want to add is that because we are not just like a coding or doing coding, you also need to apply the right algorithm to the right problem. So given a user case, what is the right tools or the method you want to use to solve that problem? That's also very important. And be able to communicate to the audience.
Thank you for that. Cam, how about for you? What are some skills, hard and soft, that you feel you use the most in your career?
Yeah, so I'd like to start by talking about the soft skills as well. I think, my colleagues, Sakshi and Emma, nailed it, that it is really important to be able to build rapport with your colleagues. Those who may report up to you, maybe they're more junior than you, or maybe a colleague who you're parallel with, but also it's really important to be able to speak up to higher managers. The ability to be able to present your ideas and your findings in a very concise and actionable way is the type of soft skills that have to be developed. And I would say that those are equally, if not more important than your technical skills. And so those two have to go hand in hand, because no matter how efficient you might be with regards to your coding ability and being able to apply data science, if you can't present your ideas and your findings in a digestible manner, that value is going to be missing along that chain. So really go outside of your comfort zone. I'm telling you, even just being able to network with people and ask them questions and being intrigued by their background and where they're from and where do they live and what's been their journey to where they are now. Just some 3 or 4 simple questions can help to break the ice and make a connection, so that when you're in a position where you're presenting your ideas, you can have a friend on your side. And that process of learning how to present the findings that you've worked so hard for is an evolutionary process. You may not come out of the chute be an expert storyteller, but that's a skill that you're going to develop along the way, just like anything else. So that, I think, from a soft skill standpoint, is really important. Being able to connect with people, being able to tell stories, being able to network, those are really important. As far as technical skills, again, I think Sakshi and Emma nailed it. There are those required technical skills. SQL is something that my cohort, I think we had 1 day of exposure to SQL coding. And I think that's something that is worthwhile to develop and learn along the way. It's sort of the fundamental programming language that a lot of companies use to be able to extract data. But I think perhaps the most valuable technical skill is the ability to be able to adopt any kind of programming language that the company might be using. I'll give you an example. When I joined Viasat, I was working cross-functionally with a lot of my colleagues in the finance department. And the finance department was using Alteryx as a programming language to do all the ETLing and some of the lightweight data science modeling on the data. And then all the presentation and the dashboarding was done in Tableau. I'd never worked with Alteryx. I was an R guy. So I had to learn how to use Alteryx to be able to work cross-functionally with my team. And so the ability to be able to learn different types of programs that allow you to perform your data science roles, I think is a requirement, so that if you decide to go somewhere else and they end up using some other tool, that it takes you a very short period of time to be able to ramp up and learn those tools to be able to perform your job. But certainly, you know, pay attention in this program, because the fundamental tools that you're going to learn using R will translate into anything else and will allow you to be able to learn and adapt and adopt different types of languages that you're going to be using down the line.
Wow, that was a great answer. And to like something I've always said, and I've always told students this, is that at the heart of this degree, it's not that you're just learning hard skills, right? But you're also learning the skill of storytelling. And sometimes that's even trickier than learning the hard skill itself. Yes, I can see the panelists are nodding their head. So I think that's a real key component, is what really separates you guys from a traditional data scientist role, is that you can translate what the analysis means and how it's going to impact the business. And that's a really important skill to have as you move forward into your careers in this field. Let's talk a little bit about trends. What are some current trends happening, in the field of analytics or data science at your company? And what do you think is going to be on the horizon in the next 5 to 10 years? So Emma, maybe you can start us off with that one.
Yeah, I think like AI and machine learning is a trend in the future. So at the beginning, we know that some big companies or like very innovative startups started to use AI to solve their business problems. Now we are seeing more and more companies join this trend, like because we are seeing the benefit of AI and machine learning in solving real business problems. So I think this will continue to be a trend in the future. And I can give an example, like for the TurboTax, previously we use a knowledge engine that you can use a TurboTax to help you compute your tax return or tax refund. At that time, you are just input like each line, you get your form, you put each line into different blanks in your software. And now there's like we are trying to eliminate work from customers. So you can just take a photo of your form and use it on name entity recognition to extract the text. And that like a lot of AI and machine learning is used like by taking a picture, it extract the text and help you do your text. So I'm seeing this as a trend. Yeah, to put it in a simple word, like use AI to simplify customers' work and put more, bring more customer benefits.
So then how do you think like AI, like in your business, how do you think that's going to impact things in the next 5 to 10 years?
I would say there will be more innovative products, or there will be a like improvement in the existing products. Yeah.
All right, Cam, for you, what trends do you think are on the horizon?
I'll have to also resonate Emma's perspective that artificial intelligence is going to be the main driver of data science in the near future. However, I also think that a lot of client-based data science work that we currently do, and by that I mean, right now we extract either all the data or portion of the data and do some computations, whether it's on our local machines or somewhere in the cloud. Those are going to become more snippet-based type of transactions that are going to live inside of a chip. So an example of that is the new Google Pixel 6 that came to market a few weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. That phone has 200,000 times the processing capacity and 2 million times the storage capacity of the computer that landed the first man on moon. That phone is able to do real-time facial recognition processing on the chip. So that type of lightweight data science, where we extract the data, bring it in, do all this massaging and everything that we do on our computers, is going to be farmed out to happen on the chip at the device level, which means that a lot of the programming that we're going to be writing need to be efficient, need to be modular. If you've written Markdown type of coding in RStudio, for example, you know that each code is in its own little R wrapper, and that's a Markdown document. So those codes are going to be living on the chip side and not this massive amount of 100,000 lines of code that you might write to be able to do all the data science work. So from my perspective, I believe that artificial intelligence, as we understand it today, is going to become more modular, and each one of those modules are going to be able to reside on things like, a little device like this big, where that chip that resides inside of my phone or inside of my AirPods, those chips are going to be able to do a lot of the data science work. And it's really important to be able to write code efficiently so that that code is able to do its processing and render the value at the chip level, which means lightweight and efficient. That's what I think is going to happen.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I had no idea that there was more technology now inside of a phone than there was to get people to the moon. That's kind of amazing. Sakshi, what about for you and for GoDaddy? I know GoDaddy's been around for a while now, that company. So what do you think are some current trends and some future trends that are going to be happening over there?
Definitely. My work is not as tech heavy as Emma's and Cam's, perhaps. So I cannot speak for AI. Definitely that is the future. But GoDaddy, the company has been around for several years. And in the past 3 years itself, as our CEO changed, I have seen this transformation coming in. So almost all the tech industries that you see today are very, very heavily reliant on the online data collection process. And now in this world of where everything is virtual and everybody is trying to have their businesses set up online, what I see coming is more and more events related data. That means a large amount of data, and there will be a time where, or I already see in my current job, where I, as a data analyst, have to put on the shoes of a product manager and think about, how can we solve a particular problem when I see something in the data, go miss, and how can I really utilize that opportunity and translate into something that really matters. At other times, I have to put on the hat of a data engineer and think about what data I need to stitch together in order to do my problem. At other times, I have to work with data scientists to really see whether whatever algorithms they are developing is really working well or not. So the line between, a definite line between a data analyst, scientist, engineer, and a product manager, that's thinning with every passing day.
So I feel that the roles in the future are going to be more versatile. And when it comes to things going online and we having a lot of sites for every business, experimentation is something which is evolving at a very rapid scale. When I joined the company at GoDaddy, the company was not at all into experimentation. And in the last 3 years, they have realized how important it is to carry out A/B tests and to figure out what works and what does not work with the customer. Something that works at a certain company might not really work at other company. So it's really important to test that. And that's the ongoing trend, A/B testing.
All right, thank you for that. All right, we are about halfway through. So like I said, this goes by really fast. So I want to turn it over to students and I want to give you guys a chance to ask a question. So as they've been talking, what questions would you like to ask them? Who's going to be brave and go first?
Hello.
Yes.
I have a question for Emma. I know Intuit is a great company with excellent financial technology and helping their millions of clients with their finance and taxes. And my question is that how do we use data analytics to help clients with their finance and taxing, lower their financial risk?
That's an excellent question and also a very broad question. So how to help customers have better finance, right? So I can, if I talk about each Intuit products, like TurboTax help a customer do their tax, or QuickBooks help the business better manage their finances. But since I work on Mint AI, so I would like to dig a little, focus more on the Mint. So Mint is a personal financial app. So it put all your credit card, financial information in one place, so you can easily look at your financials. And we are doing many of the data science projects to help you better manage your money. So for example, people want to plan ahead, right? They want to plan for the next year, for the next 3 years, 5 years, for their future. So we are doing forecast based on your current behavior, how much money you will have in the next 5 years. And then we are doing prescriptive advice. So we can see that you are not doing good in some of the part about your money. So we give you some advices. So these are all some of the examples that we are using data science to help people better manage their finance. Do I answer your question?
Yes, okay, thank you.
If I may chime in, just to dovetail on Emma. Emma, I've been using Mint for over a decade now to manage my personal finances. And one of the things that I often enjoy is that Mint will analyze my transactions and offer either insurance premium or insurance coverage or different types of credit cards where I can actually save more money based on their analysis of how and where I spend money. And I'm usually not a person that responds to unsolicited marketing messages. And I'll tell you that Mint does a great job of matching to my personal spending behavior some other financial alternatives where it helps me either earn more points or save more money. And I found that engine to be really accurate, almost scary accurate, but really accurate.
Thank you for being a loyal customer of Mint.
Like predictive algorithm.
Yeah, and also there was some features that we recently launched is that sometimes people overdraft from their bank account and they didn't know, so they did this several times, and each overdraft costs you some fees, and Mint is able to detect that and send you alert. So there are many examples like that. So yeah, in general, help you save money.
Great. Other questions? Who else has questions that they want to ask? This is your chance. You can also put them in the chat too if you don't want to ask them out loud. What do you guys want to know?
So, hi, I'm Erin. I have a question kind of for all the panelists.
Sure.
But when you went for applying for your jobs right after the program, did you have a portfolio that you used for your applications? And if so, do you have guidance to build one? Or like what sort of projects to include?
Great question.
So maybe I'll start. Erin, good question. We, and I think a lot of other students in my cohort, leveraged the capstone project to showcase some of our capabilities. That was front and center. I personally did not have a portfolio at the time. However, I've developed one along the way, and I used Tableau Public to be able to showcase some of the dashboards that I have built. And I'm happy to share that link in the chat in just a couple of minutes. And I think that is a great way, if you want to go down that avenue. It's a great way to have a publicly available collection of different types of dashboards that you may have built. You'll have to learn Tableau, but I found that to be pretty helpful. But to answer your question more accurately, right after graduation, actually before graduation, I was leveraging, and a lot of other students were leveraging the capstone project with permission of the capstone company. Obviously, you have to get that permission. Hey, can I use this during my interview processes to showcase some of my capabilities? And most companies will tell you yes, as long as you're not, revealing any of the data and maybe just showing a couple of slides. But that's what we were doing.
Yeah, I can go next.
Sure.
Just like Cam, even I didn't have any GitHub portfolio or any sort of portfolio when I was applying for jobs. I still do not have one, but having said that, if you do have a portfolio, make sure you have it on your resume, and also talk about it and not just leave it up to the interviewer to go through that portfolio. Talk about it, speak about your project.
Yeah, I can go next. I think at the beginning of the career, it's very hard to accumulate experience or putting something into your portfolio so that you can show, when you see a job post, I'll always ask for some experience. So I think the first step is most difficult, but still, I agree with Ken. You can put your capstone project, and another one I used was doing some Kaggle competitions. So Kaggle hosted a lot of competitions. You can join, participate in those competitions, and then put that experience as into your portfolio. Yeah.
Great, thank you. We have a question in the chat. I think this is a very interesting question too. So shout out to Erin, our Master of Finance student in the audience tonight. He says, thanks everyone. I'm thinking about the role of data analytics going forward. And I know that this is becoming a growing option for more Master of Finance students too, as they're going through the program. He said specifically in finance. And so he's wondering, as going forward as less of a specialist role and more of a generous role that all practitioners will need to know in the next decade. Do you see this as a trend as well? Additionally, is Python your go-to language in your job? Who wants to tackle that one? Cam, you want to start us off?
Sure. I don't want to be the guy that always goes first, but I'll go first. I don't know that, Erin, thanks. Good question, first of all. I'm not sure that I agree that the role of a generalist, if I'm understanding your question accurately, I don't know if I agree that a generalist role is one that's going to serve you in the marketplace, especially if it's like a first job that you might have after your master's degree, or maybe you're just beginning your career. I think it's important to specialize in one thing. And I'm speaking to you from experience. I have done a lot of different roles in a lot of different industries, from technology to the cycling industry, to sales, to marketing, to operations, to data analyst, to GDPR privacy consultant, you name it, I've done it. And one of the challenges I have is that organizations and hiring managers have a tough time labeling me as something. And I think being able to say, hey, I specialize in finance, or I specialize in machine learning, or I specialize in marketing analytics is really important to be able to open that door. And then you can reveal your other interests, if you want to call that from a generalist standpoint. So if I understand your question correctly, I think it's the time of the generalist is limited based on my current understanding of what's going on in the marketplace and the type of roles that people are hiring, especially if you're starting your career. And then to answer the second part of your question, I continue to favor R, but I know the statistics that Python is the most popular and most adopted language out there. I try to keep both my skill sets in R and Python and Alteryx and other types of languages as sharp as I possibly can. It's challenging because if you don't use that language, as you very well know, you tend to get dull with your ability to be able to work in that language efficiently. But it's almost like, in the circus, the person who's spinning many different plates, it's almost that role. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, that I think one of the things that the MSBA program does really beautifully is it sets you up with the knowledge and kind of instills the ambition in you, so that wherever you land, you're able to adopt the programming language and the technology stack that they might be using, whether it's R or Python or Alteryx or some other language, and be able to become conversant so you can get the job done and work well cross-functionally with the people you're going to be working with. I hope that answers you.
It did. Thank you so much, Cam. I really appreciate the answer. Thank you.
Yeah, Emma, Sakshi, do you have any thoughts on this as well?
Yeah, so I think it depends on which roles you are pursuing. For example, if you want to be a data scientist, Python is definitely the go-to language. But if you want to be a data analyst or business analyst, then SQL is the go-to language. But yeah, in general, I think the language can get you into the door, but there are other things that then can help you grow your career.
Yes, Sakshi also typed a response in the chat. Are there other questions that students have? That actually leads me into a question that I was thinking about asking, but as these students are preparing to kind of launch their career in data science or analytics or in finance, what do you think are some key things they need to do to be prepared as they enter the job market? Sakshi, why don't you start us off?
First and the foremost thing in terms of skills, I would say Emma, Cam, and I have repeated time and again, the skills required to become a data scientist would probably involve more knowledge of algorithms and Python or R. For a data analyst or business analyst, SQL is a must-have. The other thing for the tech industry would be A/B testing or experimentation. Other than that, just in order to land with an interview, network as much as you can. LinkedIn is your tool. Make use of it right from today, even if you have 1 year to get your job. Start making connections today.
Emma, how about for you? What do you think?
Yeah, so as we have discussed, if you want to enter the field of data science, have a good programming skills using Python, and then also good understanding of the basic algorithms, and have some project in your portfolio, understand not only what you did, but also why you did that. Being able to communicate that to your audience. Also for the able to apply the right approach to the business problems. I think Professor Nice class, Customer Analytics, will get you well prepared for that. As to applying jobs, I think just trying to apply as much as you can. You should be able to get some interviews. Yeah.
Cam, anything you want to add?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I struggle how to answer it, so I'll answer it this way. I mentioned earlier that we had a leak at my house, so we're kind of on borrowed. We're living somewhere else for the next 3 weeks until the leak changes. But guess what books I brought with me? SQL, R, and this book that I've gone through it so much that it's actually falling apart. So the point I'm trying to make is that this program sets you up, but it's not an end. It gets you introduced, and the learning really starts after you graduate. So the tech skills is you got to get hungry about learning. And you're going to have a set of tools that you're going to walk out into the industry with, but you have to add more tools to your toolbox, and you got to constantly work to keep those tools sharp. I was literally reading chapter 1 of this morning with my coffee, and it is always good to come back and revisit the tools that you're going to pick up in this program, and just know that even though you got to specialize in something, whether it's marketing analytics or machine learning or analytics for finance, or whether it's in the health data, biometrics, metaverse, wherever you're going to apply, whatever interests you, know that learning and the ability to be able to learn and apply and constantly challenge yourself and relearn things and evolve as the industry evolves is, I think, the biggest skill set that you can instill in yourself from this program. The one last thing I also want to say is that there are those moments in life where you can just kind of maybe pay a little bit of attention, kind of selective listening, or maybe skim things. Don't do that with Professor Nice or August's class. 100% pay attention, put your phone away, take notes, handwritten notes, because those skill sets will determine whether you can rise up through a management position because you have that knowledge in you, or whether you're going to be maybe take a bit longer because you have to think, oh, I know I learned that somewhere, like RFM analysis, I learned that somewhere, but you have to, it takes time for you to remember it, versus if you're paying attention and learning those skill sets as they're presented to you, it's within you, it's in your DNA, it's in your genes, you can bring them forward quickly, and that can make the difference between succeeding in your role and progressing and not. So I just gave you 2 gems. You're welcome.
Can't agree more with Cam that as you go out to look for a job, be open to learning.
Mm-hmm.
Two things that I actually want to add. I don't think we paid enough stress on communication skills. You need to have really good communication skills so that you are able to talk about whatever you are thinking really in a really nice manner, in a concise and planned manner. The second thing, I think that's a common thing for a data scientist as well, to have a product sense. Whatever company you are applying to, know about what their product is, what their business model is, and what they are trying to solve. Mm-hmm. So once you really understand what the product is and what they are trying to solve for, you can automatically come up with a good analytics strategy or a solution.
Yeah, that's a really good point. A newer course that's been added, I think it started last year, was they now have a data-driven communications class that they can take, where it's about the art of storytelling with data. Yeah, I noticed some of you are nodding your head. Yeah, it's an elective, so it's not required, but I think the students who do take the class, they get a lot out of it. But it's just that it's being able to communicate and how to talk to multiple different stakeholders, and also to kind of tell compelling stories as well. We're going to run out of time, but guys, we still have time to ask maybe one or two more questions. And also, in case you're not aware, these guys are MSBA alumni too. Like, they've been through the program. So if you have a question about, their advice on getting through the program, Lakshay, I see you've got your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Janet. First of all, thank you everyone for the session. It was an insightful one. So my question is more around the data analyst role. So like, I know what I can see from the current descriptions and internships or jobs is that, data analysts mostly deal with, let's say, building visualizations, reporting tools, and building data connections, and a lot of SQL queries. So I just wanted to understand, apart from these jobs, as we grow into the role of a data analyst, what are some additional responsibilities that come along the way? And also, I think as Sakshi was mentioning, that there's a lot of overlap that comes between the product management roles and data analyst roles. So where is that you see the exact overlap? And also, if someone's looking from using the knowledge of MSBA degree to move to, let's say, a product management role, so what would be the right way to do that? If you can just share any insights on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So whatever you talked about of using SQL to extract data, creating visualization, that's more something that an entry-level person does. And as you grow into a senior role or to a managerial role, you start thinking about how to solve an open-ended problem, where nobody is going to tell you what the strategy should be. A product manager may simply come and tell you that this is my product, where on the homepage should I merchandise this particular product? Can you tell me? So the role of a senior analyst would then be the line of thought that would work would be, what is the product manager trying to do? Is he trying to increase the sales of the, number one, why is the product not selling so well? Is it because the product is not that great? Is the product new, or is it just a visibility problem? So when you start, the way you think of these questions is only when you think like a product manager. And once you have answer to these questions, you start thinking about what data you need to in order to answer that question. And that's a role of a senior analyst, where nobody is going to instruct you on what strategy exactly to apply. You have to come up with your own strategy. And we spend in senior roles, we spend little time on creating visualizations. We spend a lot of time in reading those visualizations to really understand what that particular trend means. There are hundreds of dashboards. How can you combine all the insights from those 100 dashboards to really communicate one actionable insights? What do they mean? So that's the role of a senior person. In order to get into a product management role, I think one good way of doing that would be whenever you see that in the data, there's an opportunity that nobody has noticed. The idea that you come up with, that why you think we should implement a particular idea, because that's what the data is conveying, that there's a demand for this kind of product, so we should go ahead and develop that product. In a way, the data is a proof of why a new feature should be developed, and that's how a product manager would think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. And also, like, do you kind of agree that like an MSBA degree, I think traditionally product managers are like, some people are hiring generally from MBAs, but like I think as I go through the job descriptions of product management roles, I think it's more relevant to MSBA, because I think we are learning more of business techniques as well as technical techniques to extract data and kind of make sense of that data more. So do you also think like it's a right way to use your skills that you acquire in MSBA degree?
Yes and no. A product manager, one of his skill is analytics. Other than that, he also needs to have that strategic skill, which probably comes from an MBA degree. Having said that, it does not mean that a person from MSBA cannot develop that skill. A big job of a product manager would be to get his idea validated from data analysts and then communicate it out to software engineers or engineering managers to have that product built out. There's a lot of back and forth that happens. So a product manager is really good at communicating and really thinking about the entire product from end to end, from its need in the first place to actually implementing it and making sure that it's a success.
All right. Thank you so much once again.
Great questions. We are almost out of time, but I wanted to take a quick minute and let Sakshi also talk about an internship opportunity that's happening at her company currently. Sakshi, would you like to share more about it?
Yes, for sure. So I am trying to hire a data analyst intern under my team and who would directly be reporting to me for the summer of 2022. I work for the website analytics team, and the intern would be working on a real project, helping me with all the weekly business reviews, doing ad hoc analysis. So that is something coming up. The skills that I'm looking for would be good efficiency with SQL. Experimentation, knowledge of experimentation is good to have, and definitely good root cause analysis skills. By that I mean knowing the right way to solve a problem, having a strategy in mind to how to go about solving a particular analytics problem. So that is something I am looking for, and I'll post the link on this chat. Feel free to.
I just did.
Okay, that's awesome. Feel free to ping me on LinkedIn, leave a note that you attended this particular panel, and that way I'll be able to look at your resumes.
So there we go. So yeah, this is going to be a good opportunity for our 22s who are in the audience who are still maybe looking for a summer internship. I think a number of you are. And how awesome would it be to join a team of a fellow MSBA alum too? Like that would, yeah, I just love that idea. So guys, please apply. Do you want a cover letter? Do you care?
Not really.
Okay, so no cover letters, guys. I just saved you a step. Okay. All right, I'm going to submit a poll out to the students. Please tell me, let us know if this was useful, if you learned anything from it, if this was a good event to have. So hopefully I can get everyone to answer it. It should take a minute or two. And then while they're doing that, if students want to continue having a conversation or if they want to connect with you guys, what is a good way to do that?
Hey, I'd like to go first and also like to plug, there is the MSBA group on LinkedIn. If you're not a member yet, definitely find that out. That was something that I created in 2017 as a way for 11 of us to keep in touch who had worked together, and it's now grown to over 400 some odd people. And it's mostly MSBA cohort graduates going back to 2017, which was my cohort. And so it's a great platform to keep in touch, and lots of job and internship postings are come across over there. And I know that the administrative staff at Rady also participate in there as well. So me and Emily Dayton kind of co-manage that group, and it's a wonderful place. I'd love to see all you guys there.
Excellent. Yes. And I post job opportunities on there too sometimes, also just to help to get the word out. So that's a good place to periodically check for opportunities, especially like full-time opportunities as well. Emma, what's a good way for students to get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can just search me on LinkedIn. You can Yanting Cao or Emma. I don't know which one will return the results. Yeah.